I think two scenes stuck with me, and one was Claudio's character with the spider guy. That was great, and I don't know how much of that is pertaining to the qualities of the game, but personally, I really liked because I was skeptical. I'm very skeptical of anthropomorphic animals fiction, you know. And when that scene started playing, I felt that something was going. I could picture it in a way that wasn't cartoonish or wasn't. I mean, it was kind of. It made me think of an old book. It's called, I don't remember the name. It's an old book with anthropomorphic animals, and it's kind of played seriously. It's a British book, but I will find the name. Anyways, um, and as I said, I liked the way the teams were developing. And the other scene, in fact, is the one with Manu when things in the end started to escalate. And I really like how Manu's character was steadfast about his mission. And that's the kind of situation that if you're playing D&D, you have players start saying, okay, let's not piss off people, let's subdue our input because this story is going somewhere. We have to let the guards pass. We will come back later. There was going to be a dungeon in the prisons and we free the prisoner, that kind of thing. And I really like how Manu instead was like, okay, no, I'd rather take these people and leave the scene and do something like stomping my foot and changing the story radically, and it kind of cut there, but I felt there was something building, and I'm glad that we are picking up from that position because it was going somewhere interesting. And I don't know how much of this is depending on how the pool is played, but what I felt is that there are a lot of light games, games with few rules, game with few mechanics, games that say, okay, this is simple, it flows. And I generally don't like them because
They don't
they're
flow.
just
They just rely
no,
on endless negotiation, moment by moment
no,
by
it's just
moment.
very
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
People who are going to talk and talk, and then you are going to have a very simple role and that will do nothing, and
right.
people will start talking and
hmm
doing.
hmm
And here it
The
feels
window and
different.
rises are two major repeat offenders, in my opinion.
Hmm. Hmm. And here you feel that the game has a lot of momentum. I feel like from small things, there is a lot of momentum. And I liked how I was saying about the teams, the religious aspects came out instantly, very potently. Everybody was, I think, I've said, I think in the chat that it's really nice how, I think in a not very constructed way. I was thinking about this watching the videos about whimsical ways in preparation, and it made me think of this like in a very spontaneous way, what people wrote about the characters
Right.
gave people momentum toward
hmm
this content. I don't want to say, oh, the DM was very. I don't think. I mean, I not want to diminish your ability
Yeah, but
to
I'm
make
not
those
looking
things.
at your sheets and then setting up things to trigger you
No, no, no.
or
We,
anything
we,
like
we
that.
went here,
Right.
and it was very, very clear how everybody
Yeah,
was
exactly. It's coming from everybody.
compatible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Menu, is there anything you wanted to say about last time or?
Um, just two things. One is when I was first creating the character, I did have a little bit of a puzzlement about okay, what kind of scope should I make the traits? You know what I mean? Like, should I just say he's strong, or should I focus on oh he's skilled in swordsmanship? And so I was thinking, well, like to game the system, I should make things as general as possible, right? But then I was like, I'm just gonna just describe the character, and then just go without trying taking any of that thing into account. and then just see what looks like a trait at the end. And I think that's the right way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I would probably been stuck or
When somebody,
whatever. So
right, when
yeah.
somebody uses or names a trait that's kind of vague, um, like the 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 weird stuff for Claudio's character, um, I kind of usually wait to see what application they give it first off, which in this
Uh-huh.
case resembled a certain like almost martial arts approach. And so basically from now on, although I'm going to let the edges be, fairly fairly flexible, that's my center point for understanding that trait from that point forward.
Yeah.
And so there will come a point where at any given time someone can say, okay, well, I'm going to, you know, use my swordsmanship to, impress her. And it's like, well, what are you doing with this? Well, I put my hand on my sword and I lean in and I'm kind of like, yeah, right, forget it. And so it'll be the same way, perhaps, when Claudio says, who knows? I use my, well, the ways of the water to, you know, calm the crowd. And I'm like, we just saw you dodge the spider's web with that stuff. It's good for dodging webs, right? I'm not getting a calming the crowd out of this. Thank you very much. So
I think I kind of failed on that. I've been thinking about this all week, and I wanted to mention it at a time because in my initial description, I mean, I will learn this from the next time I play the game, where I wrote about the river priests. I put a lot of unsaid about it. There is this thing about my father being a river priest and my guy being taught in the ways of the river priest, but rejecting it. It's more of a thing like I don't really like religious fanatics, and you don't get that from two words. And I don't know how far I can go with just mentioning that
he
or having
does
to
not
explain it.
like religious fanatics, period.
Yeah,
Underline it as a
yeah.
trait. I
Yeah. Next time
Right.
I'm going to spend more words, and I wonder if you can use the words you get from session to session to fix some statements
Yes,
that
you
maybe
absolutely
become.
can. Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact, one of the best things you can
yeah.
do with those extra words is put negatives, or my favorite, no longer.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because I think I need to
That's a
clarify
good
that.
one. Yeah.
It's not
Um,
clear. Yes.
so things like that are very powerful, and I don't think you could be bad at it, I guess, but I'm not going to fear what I haven't seen yet. What I've
Mhm.
seen is after 2 or 3 sessions, a very, very distinctive body of text for that character that has the history of play embedded in it. So and I love it. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, so
Well,
let's dive in. Oh, sorry, Manu.
if I
Oh,
can
well,
add
I
a
had,
few
I
what
had
you guys said.
another.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh my
sorry.
God,
I will drop my
everybody.
dice
Oh
just
my
a
God,
second.
every single one
Um,
of you.
so the thing about the traits is that when I write my characters in the pool, I almost never give a fuck about the traits.
Right.
And the reason that they come out so general, this is not the first time that a trait comes out and it's rather general, is because I don't want to spend time explaining like what a water warden is in my
Right.
head, and I might not even know exactly, but
Which
I know that has some importance to the character,
right.
and I kind of discover what it does. As you said, you discover, and I discover as well, what exactly that means.
I am very happy with that, and I've
Right?
never found
Yeah.
it to be problematic. As long as we
Yeah, and
recognize that it will have some boundaries, right? If it has
the
boundaries
thing is,
somewhere, it doesn't even have to
I'm
be
not
like a
even
narrow one, right? It can
about
be a
like,
broad range, but as long as it has some boundaries, we hit upon those, and it's the GM's job, right? The GM's
yeah,
job to decide on what those are, and that's just how it is, and that's fine. I mean, as long as it's my job and not something that we have to tussle over, um,
yeah,
and it's validated as a trait, through its initial use, no matter what. So okay, where's the downside, right? So I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
a vague and unknown trait is a perfectly good thing.
But because I prefer that says raised by water wardens and not like is a very skilled martial artist,
Right.
right?
Right.
That sounds lame as fuck to me, right?
Uh-huh.
And right,
No, I totally get it. And so you'll discover the meaning of it in your first use, as you say, and it's kind of a gimme in some ways, which is good because we haven't seen what your character can do yet. So seeing him suddenly bust out those cool moves is great, right? It's fantastic. Oh, that's the Water Wardens. Awesome. So Menu, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say that I felt I'm not completely sure what the reason is, but I felt very free to play my character. So more free than I've usually felt in most games. And part of it, and also it was interesting, I discovered more about the character as I was playing him. Like, I was seeing, I guess he's kind of had some diplomatic savvy going on that I hadn't anticipated. And to what extent all that is from the pool, or also like that I have confidence in you that you're not railroading. That's probably part of it too. But I just found it very like I found myself playing the character without, as I thought he should be played, without worrying about, do you want me to go in a certain place?
Oh
You
man,
know what I mean?
that's very important.
Okay.
Right. I completely get
Maybe
that. And I do incidentally think that in this conversation, whenever anyone has said, well, I'm not sure if it's the pool or the system, I can assure you it is. So anyway, but go on, Lorenzo, what's that?
No, I think that it may sound silly, but I think a big part of this is that there is nothing in this game that tells you when you lose. Like, you have your hit points, you have nothing to worry about in a way. I mean,
except for what you get
we're
yourself
going to
into.
fight the
Right.
guy. Yeah,
Right.
you can lose all your life. You can die. It's very clear that you can die. Maybe but there is no metric. There is no incremental process that say, okay, now my stress has gone up. I'm finishing my little dials, and so the only way you can go is forward in a way.
We will take a look at some more of we'll take a look at some more of this in a bit, particularly the fact that when your pool is empty, it's not any sort of disaster. There's a phenomenon, which is that you have less flexibility about how much dice you're going to throw in next time, but that's a phenomenon. It's not, oh, I'm out, thud, right? Which is a huge fear of people when they read the rules.
There is not a death spiral.
Right? No, there's not. So okay, let's take a look now at where